All right, here's a video today. How cooking made Homo sapien. And by the way, I'm not just saying meat, even though you're seeing a picture of a nice juicy piece of meat here. This is not a health video. This is not saying that you have to eat meat, and this is not an attack on vegetarianism. So I'm just saying in our primordial past, not path, but the path in our past, that and going back to Homo erectus, that fire was crucial. The cooking of food, whether it was meat or broccoli, was very crucial to developing what we are today. And I think we all know that cooked food makes meat, makes other foods, makes broccoli, it makes it easy to chew. That's a big thing in this video, talking about how we made it easier to chew our food and other things. So again, we'll talk about Homo erectus, which I talked about. And by the way, when you write in just in general, make sure we have our pen going. When you're writing in general in science, you always capitalize the first name, and then the last, you just put a lowercase. So Homo sapien, wise man. So we'll also talk about Homo erectus in this video, because Homo erectus was one of the first hominids to use fire, to control fire. That's a big thing there. All right, let me clear that out and let's write our first thing down, because what heat does, first of all, it makes it easier for us to chew food, but heat denatures protein strands. So let's clear that out. Let's write that down. Make sure we have our pen ready there. So heat denatures, fancy word, protein strands in the meat, in the food. And what all denatures means that it disrupts the molecular conformation. It's just so if you have protein, folded proteins, just put a folded proteins here like this, they're all folded together. What it will do is it'll denature it, break it down. Much easier to chew. Simple as that. Let's look at some other things that how that would have helped make Homo sapien. And just think about tubers. Write down the word tubers. A lot of the tubers that they would have found as they were foraging, they were gathering, because they just weren't hunters, they were foraging. And so, like a potato, for example, like a yam. Try to eat a potato. I mean, it's just impossible. And it would have been impossible for Homo erectus also. So if you cook a a potato, tomato, potato, tomato, tomato. If you cook a potato, of course, it's not only easier to chew, it's the only way you can chew it. Which just don't have the teeth or the enzymes to break down those tubers, and Homo erectus would not have either. So without fire, we would have spent a lot of our time chewing. And here's an interesting thing about fire. Without fire, without fire, um, we would have spent a lot of energy chewing, chewing and digesting. It takes a lot of energy to digest food if you're not chewing. And here's an interesting thing about cooking. Cooking actually gives you more energy in your food. And by the way, the Homo sapiens didn't invent fire. Again, going back to Homo erectus, they discovered fire. They controlled fire, not invented. You don't invent fire. They discovered how to control it. And so Homo erectus, which we evolved from, and there was Homo erectus around when we were around too. So Homo erectus, well, we have a common ancestor from Homo erectus. So Homo erectus was the first to control fire. So they were cooking their meat. And you can tell by their jaw, you can tell by their teeth. Let's look at a picture of that. So here's a phylogenetic tree. You see Homo erectus over here. Get our pen going there. There's Homo erectus. Right, and there's this common ancestor right here that branched out to Homo sapien and Neanderthal. So, you know, to say we evolved from Homo erectus, we actually came from a common ancestor that one branched to Homo erectus. Now, again, with Homo erectus, Homo sapien, and Neanderthal, you see a pattern with the teeth and the jaws, and I'll show you a picture of that. So if you see Australopithecus afarensis, and this is Lucy, you might have heard about the famous Lucy skeleton. She was an Australopithecus, and as we move this way, I see a larger brain with Homo erectus and Homo sapien, even larger brain. As the brain is increasing, you see the jaw and the teeth start getting smaller. And that's what you see. So afarensis, Australopithecus afarensis, who was Lucy again, Lucy in the sky. That's right, Lucy over here. There's Lucy. She had a brain bigger than a chimp, but very similar to a chimp over here. We see a modern chimp. So again, what we're seeing is the jaw muscles start decreasing, the teeth getting smaller, and we know that Homo erectus was controlling fire, and of course Homo sapien also. So again, we didn't need those large jaws, those mandibles, to chew our food, to rip apart, whatever we're foraging, meat or vegetables. Fire made it easier to chew, so we didn't need the jaw muscle, and the jaw muscle freed up brain capacity. And of course, we didn't need those sharp teeth anymore, especially with the advent of tools. So fire gave us smaller jaws, smaller teeth, but bigger brains. There's a fancy word, by the way. Let me write it down again. Here comes that fancy word. I'll write it over here. Encephalization. Encephalization. See if I can fit it. And that all it is just the increase in body and brain size, as you can see from our phylogenetic tree. That's what encephalization is. So just review so far, what fire did is it increased our brain by lowering our jaw. Our jaw became smaller, our teeth became smaller, and it started with Homo erectus, and even early Homo sapien, early man, you know, they had smaller jaws than today. I mean, they had larger jaws and more teeth than we have today too. So we were evolving as we became Homo sapien also. So the smaller jaw, smaller mandibles, smaller teeth, bigger brain size, bigger body size, encephalization. And we lost these teeth. We didn't lose them. We lost some teeth that, of course, the sharper teeth, but some teeth we still have. And, these are the wisdom, right? Our wisdom teeth serve no function. A lot of them just get pulled, but they're still there. They're from a primordial past. What cooking also does, and I'll write it over here, cooking also can increase energy. It can increase energy by 30% or more. That's incredible. So just by cooking your food, you can get more energy per pound than by eating it raw. And just think about this. There's less energy in chewing, less energy in digesting, and the body can absorb more of it faster. More energy, bigger brain. And just think about your brain now. Your brain needs 20% of all the energy. Brain needs a lot of energy. And it wouldn't have got it from raw foods. It's getting it from cooked foods. Let's try to review this. As we had fire, we were able to chew less frequently. We wouldn't spend our time chewing. Now we can chew easier. The enzymes are broken down already for us in the fire. And because of that, our jaw became smaller, Our teeth became smaller. We had more room for a brain. Our brain increased. And of course, our brain needs energy, and cooking increases energy by 30% or more. There's another thing fire does: kills pathogens. As our brain got bigger, our guts got smaller. So we don't have the acids like a lion. A lion could swallow its food, and it has the acids in its stomach to break it down, which we do not. We lost that. And so has Homo erectus. All right, and here's just a review. And by the way, there's more things we can talk about. Make this video even longer. All right, so cooking gives us more caloric density and more energy, 30% more energy. And you need that if you want a big brain. And cooking, fire, it made the mandible smaller. We didn't need a large mandible to chew our food and rip apart our meat or whatever tubers we were eating. We weren't spending so much time chewing also. And there's evidence that by having more energy, the females especially gained a lot of energy. Mothers gained more energy. And there was this stronger male to female bonding that you see in humans. Less chewing with fire freed up humans for other activities, like taking biology courses, for example, making tools to make it even more easier. And here's an important thing: it kills parasites. Like we said before with the lions, we don't have the acidity in our stomachs. Our stomachs are smaller. Remember, we reduced our mandibles and reduced our teeth. We increased our brain size, but we also reduced our gut. So we don't have all that acid to kill the parasites and pathogens that you would have in raw meat. And like I said here, all we need now is a Homo erectus cookbook, which I'm sure some person will make. We'll wait for that to come out. All right, that's our video today.